After a couple of wildcard races here in the BSR Grid Network Truck Series, we return to good old-fashioned stock car racing at one of the greatest tracks on the calendar. Welcome to Michigan International Speedway for the 988 Suicide Awareness 200. This track opened more than 50 years ago, and its 2-mile configuration now really the last of its kind, with the departure of Auto Club from the NASCAR calendar. 5 grooves available with 18 degrees of banking in these corners. This is a very high-speed track with a lot of room to work with and a lot of on-throttle time for these drivers to manage. Potentially flat in qualifying trim through the corners, but of course as those tyres burn off, you really have to manage what they can do to keep yourself going throughout the long run. I am Olivia here, bringing you all the action tonight on JCTV, and as we enter round number 7 of the season, we have had 6 different winners. So 5 different winners come through in the first 6 rounds. Michael Kruger, the only double winner on the schedule, but of course missing 1 round, moves him into second place by 2 points behind Michael Walls. We had a dominant performance last time out from one Justin Raw. That moves him all the way up into 3rd in the points. His 3rd top 5 of the season, converting into a win. A quick update on the schedule going forwards. We are going to be taking another couple of weeks off after tonight, and we will return on August 30th for the race at Kansas, for running straight through to the end of the regular season. The remaining tracks on the calendar will be Indianapolis, Richmond, Chicago, it's the street course at Chicago, North Wilkesboro, and then a regular season finale with the dual races at Talladega. As for tonight's action, we have 100 laps on the docket, 200 miles. Stage will fall at the end of lap 25, but as we'll be doing all season, we will keep it rolling. And with just a couple of minutes left in practice, it is currently Justin Raw who sits at the top of the timing sheets by 7/1000ths of a second. Those top 2 with a big margin. I am going to put that down potentially to a little bit of draft help that they've had over the course of this one. Track temp rising to 102 Fahrenheit here in Michigan, and as we go through the race, we probably expect it to cool off a little bit. Cloud cover could play a little bit of a factor as to when the track ebbs and flows over that 100 mark. Let's ride on board with Michael Kruger here. Let's get a lay of the land as we get through the final 2 minutes in practice. Michael Kruger, of course, has those 2 race wins, looking for a 3rd here tonight, and is showing how effective that high side can be. I did not hear a drop in throttle on corner entry. So maybe you can stay flat as long as you take the wider radius and then cutting down. This could be a quali sim, in fact. This could be setting up for a second lap, so let's see. That sounds flat out. Right up against the outside wall. This is going to be a very exciting qualifying session to watch. Getting it hooked all the way down to that yellow line. And then we'll try and hold it as low as possible, get back down to the apron. Let's see what kind of time Michael Kruger can set. This could be the benchmark for the field as we get into qualifying. We're only at 39.8, it looks like, from that. I mean, it's 8 tenths off what we've been seeing in practice, but again, draft packs could play a huge factor. Could be the clean air running. So we'll see if drivers can get into those 39s as we get through into the qualifying session. 2 laps available, 5 minutes to set those 2 laps. And 1 point as well, I believe, on offer for whichever driver can get onto the pole position. Stay with us. Qualifying will be up next here at Michigan. And it looks like Michael Kruder is the first driver out on track for qualifying as well. You did see the cloud cover sort of jump in as we got towards the session. Now a 2:15 local time here in Michigan. And I think Kruder's seen the slight drop in track temp. Wants to try and get going right away. And a lot of drivers following, making use of the early part of this 5-minute session. He's doing an arc down low through turns 1 and 2 here. I'm interested to see whether the high line in 3 and 4 is the option to try and arc in for the second lap. And no, he's going to opt for that low side. Maybe notes from those 5 minutes practice showing that this is the faster way around. Lap 1 could be the preferred option for Michael Kruder. Lap time will come through as a 39.6. So yeah, great work there. And as the rest of the field slides in behind, Cody Goza currently closest, but only half a tenth within Kruder's time. And a lot of drivers potentially setting up for lap number 2. Maybe going for the first lap knowing that the conditions were favourable. It's always a factor you have to play in a dynamic qualifying session. We'll see if Kruder finds an improvement. And then for any drivers behind, if they can find anything better. No improvement here for Michael Kruder. Let's see what Alex Kerfen can do in that number 30. Tristan Maher finds an improvement, goes to the top of the board. Justin Durand even faster, and Alex Kerfen lines up right behind, so drivers find a little bit more speed on that second lap compared to what Kruder was able to do. We'll keep an eye now on Fidel Fabian, who is just running that opening lap. Puts the beam to finish lap number 1, is going to jump up into the 8th position. We'll set up for lap number 2 here. 2 minutes left in the qualifying session. Currently 16 times on the board from our 21 drivers. Lyndon Bingaman on an out lap right now and just starting a flying lap. Fabian, the only other driver in that group that have set times to still have a lap available. Going through 3 and 4 to finish off the run. Very high off the corner. Cuts back down below the white line to the apron. Does not find an improvement. Bingaman's first lap comes through. It's a 39.7. Good for 10th place. Cloud cover persisting throughout this qualifying session. Expecting cloud cover for most of the race, but this has dropped the track temp all the way down to about 90 Fahrenheit. Down 10 degrees from what we saw at the very tail end of the practice session. And that's just a time of about 15 minutes. The dynamic track can really play a factor at a track like this. No improvement for Lyndon Bingaman here. Yeah, Poland can go for it. Finishes up lap number 1, but he's only doing 14th fastest. He's going to try the high line on lap number 2. Cutting down late to that inside groove. 23 seconds left in qualifying. This will be the last time across the line here. And as the clock winds down, 45 will come across the line and will not find an improvement. That will end our qualifying session. Justin Durand on pole by less than 1/100th of a second over Tristan Maher. And we go now to the race grid. Will be Justin Durand on pole position for tonight's race at Michigan, with Tristan Maher lining up on the outside. Then difference of less than 100th between the two of them. Michael Kruder will line up from the second row of the grid with Zach Probst to his outside. And then Michael Walls and Alex Kerfen lining up on row number 3. Cody Goza and Fidel Fabian will line up 7th and 8th, with Justin Rourt and Lyndon Bingaman rounding out your top 10. Cameron Caldwell and Dave Piazzolla will line up 11th and 12th, with Travis Van Oostendorp and Levi Poland behind. Row 8 will go to William Kemp and Aaron Von Druska, with Troy Sand and Zachary Wareham lining up on 17th and 18th. Then we have Stephen Thornton and Dakota Knoll lining up on row number 10, with Paul Sathmary behind them, rounding out the field for tonight's race. And as we get rolling, a reminder: 100 laps on offer. It is going to be a stage break at lap 25. And, well, stage lap 25. We'll keep rolling. 2 stops expected, of course. But because of the high throttle time, we're maybe only expecting 35 laps on a tank here. Maybe extending towards 40 if drivers look to save. They'll have to run a little bit past the stage to really open up the window, open at about lap 30. And so drivers got to be careful to not burn off the tyres as they get on that run to the green checker. Pace car will peel off down into pit lane. Justin Durand at command of Barney the Flagman. And we are racing here for 100 laps at Michigan. And Caldwell already popped out of line. Is going to go for that 3 wide move down into turn number 1. There's plenty of room to make it work. Just got to be careful to leave each other. We're in race with respect in the early running. Justin Durand nice and clear at the start of this one, as Kruder and Maher duel behind for second place. We head down into turn number 3 for the first time tonight. Ooh, Kruder misses the bottom there just a little bit. Maher's able to leave the room, but it could open up the door here for Walls in that number 7. Who will go all the way down to the apron. 3 wide across the line behind, but it is Justin Durand, your leader on lap number 1. There's the move from Walls. As that low groove, the outside starts to gain on corner exit. And all 3 having to lead through the room. 3 by 3 behind. As Cody Goza might try and file in. You can see the outside line just carries that momentum off the corner. Walls got dropped back an entire lane from that, as they are squeezing behind those 2 Dirt Racing trucks. A lot of direction being shown early here. As Curtin Knoll took a pit lane start, is rolling just a few seconds behind the field. Quite hoping for a slightly early caution to bunch the field back up. As Kruder slingshots to the race lead from down in 3rd here on lap number 3. Curvin also up 4 positions. Will move up into the 2nd place. And pits up the lap lead. A lot of maneuvering early. Can make those slingshots as Curfin looks for the race lead here. Started down in 6th position on the outside of row number 3, but wraps the low side here and is going to clear for the race lead. It's 3 leads in the span of 4 laps at Michigan. It's going to be a game of who pushes when. I doubt you can get a breakaway here with how high speed the track is, how important that draft is going to be. And so you got to be careful about balancing being in clean air to save tyre while also not over pushing to cut through the pack and stay ahead of the pack, because that can burn up the tyre just as well. Biggest gainer so far tonight, Travis Van Oostendorp. Start down on row number 7. Now it runs in the 4th position and could cross the line here and will take P3 up 10 spots in just 5 laps since when we started. Now sat side by side with Michael Kruder. The top side's going to open up a little bit for him. Oh, Justin Durand shuts the door. A little bit of a bobble between the drivers. Mr. Maher down 4 positions. Lyndon Bingaman also down 4. So going for more of a long game here. Preserving tyre for later in the stages. My goodness. Fan out in the back. 3 and 4 wide. Those 2 Dirt Racing trucks. And on top of each other, always long here. Up at front of the field, Justin Durand. It moves to the inside of Alex Curfin. Will lead that lap. But it's going to fall back on the outside. Van Oostendorp looking to follow Curfin through here. Bump draft can be very effective at this sort of track. Just nut bumpers with Curfin into the corner. Then tries to move to the outside in turn 3. They are clear as the top two. 3 wide behind, side by side between Walls and Kruger for that 4th position. I was expecting Travis to maybe try and pop to the low side on corner entry for turn number 3. We've seen drivers make good moves down there just by forcing the issue into the corner. That Allegiant truck looking to try and use the high side a little bit more in 3 and 4. And it's not up for the same line down here in 1 and 2 as well. To the end of lap number 10, it is Kerfan who leads from Van Oostendorp, both drivers up a number of positions with Justin Durand, Michael Kruger and Tristan Maher. The top 3 qualifiers handed out as the remainder of that top 5. It is a swarm of trucks behind in that fight for 7th place. Probst leads this group in the 62, but Walls is a couple tenths further up. But it is really a hornet's nest around Goza, Raw, Fabian, Thompson, and William Kemp. Plenty of room to give if you are keeping an eye on it. Very easy to just drift up a lane. Expect to try to be going for a different line than you predicted, and contact in the corner could easily bring out our first caution of the night. As things stand, we are rolling towards the halfway point of the opening stage. It is Kerfan who leads from Van Oostendorp, Kruger, and Kruger and Durand actually working together here into turn number 1. Kruger will clear. Durand looking to follow. Oh, and that is loose from Michael Kruger. A lot of rotation. Van Oostendorp finds the wall. And carnage and chaos starting to unfold here as the tyres wear. Van Oostendorp falls down to the 7th position. Might have some damage on that truck. Keep an eye on that right front as we come through. Bodywork looks in alignment. We'll see if the wheels are pointed straight. Coming for the first pit stops of the day. Quite a way away from that. It stands at the front. Kruger going to try and slingshot down the inside of Alex Kerfan to retake the race lead here on lap number 14. They'll be side by side off the corner. Kerfan has that advantage coming from that high side off turn number 2. Stay clear on entry of 3 and 4. Oostendorp really fading now. He's been brought into the pack. Last lap time was a 42.1. Leaders running 40.9s. Fourth, about a second from sort of the average pace in the field. The top few with those slingshot moves. Looking close to a second and a half fall off from their fastest laps of the race. So it's about half a second off what the race leaders are running. So I think there could be a little bit of suspension damage lingering on the number 23 truck here. Ooh, the truck's definitely not handling the way that he'd like. Wheel looked straight, but I think the tyres maybe giving up the ghost for the number 23. It was the concern of a hard charge forward in the opening 10 laps. And it looks like it could be a factor as we head through the rest of this stage. Kerfen and Durand side by side for the race lead with 9 laps to go in this opening stage. Durand has that inside line. Kerfen just doesn't have the room to turn in and use the whole racetrack. Tristan Ma's been brought right back into the fray here with Walls and Gozer behind. And you are seeing the field spread behind starting to amplify in the mid-pack. But up at the front of the field, it has really bunched back up in the last few laps. Kerfen runs high, Durand goes low. Tristan Ma and all the way to that yellow line in the corner. And Durand holds on to the race lead. And a lot to the low side. They could be 3 wide into the corner. Kerfen bats out. But Kruger has the line down into turn number 1. Holds on to that second groove rather than ripping all the way to that yellow line. Could be a little bit of track evolution. That low side warming up. It could just be that the tyres can't quite get down there at this stage of the race. Not without bleeding off a little bit more speed than the 42 would like. Similar story here down in 3 and 4, a little bit lower, but still leaving plenty of an air gap to that yellow line. Kerfen going to pop to the low side. They're going to be 3 wide on corner entry this time. It's going to be Kruger that loses out. Back down into the 3rd position as Kerfen looks to take the race lead, but once again, Durand able to find the run off the corner. Put that pressure on, and is going to be most of a truck ahead on entry of turn number 3. That instant a little way back for Bailey Thompson. Let's have a look at what's happened to the number 27 truck here. Oh, and loose off turn number 2. Hold on to it. Not sure whether there was a bit of netcode contact from the truck on the inside or just over pushing it. We go back to live pictures, and Van Oostendorp also struggling off the corner. Similar situation off turn number 2, but this time it is contact with, that is Paul Sasbury. Both drivers hold onto it, but a huge loss of time for the 23, and after a great run to start the day, really struggling in the back half of the opening stage. 5 to go in that stage. Of course, we stayed green as the points get awarded. It is Kerfen who leads from Durand, Walls, Kruger, and Gozer. Currently your top 5. Oh, and Kruger, I think, tried to clear off turn number 4. Didn't quite have the gap, backed out of it, then gets around Gozer. But here comes the swarm, here comes Kemp, here comes Raw on the tail end. And the back of the field has really spread out for a few instances from that tyre wear. Up at the front, it is compressed massively. Now the top 10 all within a second of each other. And then Cazorla and Wareham just at the tail end of this group. The more they fight up ahead, of course, the closer the rest of the field can close up. 3 laps to go in this stage. A caution now would end up bringing the stage to a close. Just because there's no guaranteed caution, it does not mean that one can't come out naturally, and it can often be the case when you're racing for points, racing for that crucial playoff point as well. Some of these drivers up here. Goza tags the wall on the exit of turn number 2. We fan out 3 wide once again, and the caution is out, in fact. And it's Gabe Pizzolo on the backstretch. Spun around, and that will bring the stage to an end. Gabe Pizzolo stationary on the backstretch. Let's have a look. Oh, and turned here. Go back a little bit further. Coming through turn number 2. And just loose into the wall, and then turns off the nose of the Vaseline truck. Minimal damage, it seems like, to everyone involved. I just get stopped before we can contact with that inside wall. We get going once again as the field groups up behind the pace car. That will bring the opening stage to an early end. The results are Alex Kerfen taking that stage win, with Walls in second behind. Kruder, Durand, and Goza round out your top 5. Behind them, Justin Raw, William Kempf, Cameron Caldwell, Tristan Maher, and Zach Probst will pick up your final stage points here at Michigan, as it looks like the whole field is going to come down pit road. It should be a pretty easy call for these drivers. 4 tyres, fill it with fuel. Could be a little bit of a fuel safe race potentially if drivers want to go as long as the tank will allow. Prepared not to slide the box as Tristan Maher does a little bit. Going to be a slower stop for the number 17, who had such a good run in that stage. First driver off pit road. Looks like it'll be a Michael Walls in a drag race. Look at the nose ahead. I'm going to have to double check the timing once everyone gets shuffled out. Maher ended up leaving pit road 8th, so a good few spots down from where he was. And it looks like Kruder, in fact, may have picked that one up by a narrow margin. Kruder did have the fastest stop of anyone at the front of the field, 38.6. Cameron Caldwell, 38.3 from cone to cone. So great work from the 12 crew to pick up a few spots on pit road. And then Maher with a 39.9. Cody goes with a 42.7. A couple seconds stationary, it looks like, in addition. I loosened up, down, still on pit road, picking up those repairs. Might end up going a lap down here. A few other drivers, Bingaman, Thornton, Knoll, and Cazzola, all taking extended repairs. But loosened up will come back out on the lead lap. Holland comes in to top off the tank. Is, I believe, the only taker we see for that option so far. Now Dakota Knoll, no, Stephen Thornton, sorry, will follow. So some tactical moves being played here. Again, 35, the conservative number, 40 laps possible with a little bit of fuel save, with help from the draft, of course. From here, 1 lap green, each of 37 laps on each of the 2 tanks. It's definitely doable, and I think extending's not a bad idea with how cautions can fly during a pit cycle. But a couple of drivers wanted to just make it a little bit more certain, take that little bit more fuel, and then get going once again at the tail end of the pack, making full use of that draft through the remainder of the run. So there was our unplanned stage caution. Come back to green with 74 laps to go here in the 98 Suicide Awareness 200. And it's Michael Kruder in control of the field, looking for win number 3 on the season. We enter the restart zone, and with a nudge from Alex Kerfen, we get going once again here at Michigan, down into turn number 1. And those top two, Kerfen with a great push, actually pushed that entire line clear. Caldwell, who lined up 3rd in the inside, could follow them through and hold on to that position. They fan out 3 wide behind now. Let's get in the run off the corner. Hopefully we settle back into it, a little bit of a rhythm. As the drivers know, it's now a long run expected on this tank, on this set of Goodyear tyres. Dale Fabian working in position on the low side there, getting a push from, I believe that is the 95 of Gabe Zola, who was backwards just a few laps ago, to make up for lost time here. We've got Van Oostendorp, took more than a minute on pit road for repairs. Looks confident to push back through the field. Started here in 13th, fell as high as 2nd, then fell to the very tail end of the pack. And after all of that, right back in 13th, very qualified. Bobbing, there's weaving. There's all the dueling with Paul Safbury here. Down into turn number 3. Dominant line there on the low side, especially on the fresh tyres. Paying off for the 95. We'll hold on to that race lead. Oh, not the race lead. The lead in this fight. Driver going for the race lead is Cameron Caldwell in the number 12. Got a good launch from that inside line on the restart, with the help of Alex Kerfen pushing Kruger through. Kerfen then picks the pocket of Kruger, and Caldwell is going to come through and try and swipe them both. He leads down the backstretch. Will he get the lap led? It looks like he will. Kerfen happy to sit behind right now. Give a little bit of a push forward to the number 12. We think the fuel shouldn't be a huge concern, but if it's going to be a problem for anyone, it'll be for those leading. Potentially, Kerfen is happy to sit in 2nd place for a little bit, just to hold on to that 37 lap run here, and maybe trying to ascend to make an even easier job towards the end of the race. Field has spread out a little bit more than it did in that first stint. Maybe drivers a little more cognizant of the tyre wear challenges that come through over the course of a full fuel run here now. Track temp back above 100 Fahrenheit. And quite a strong wind as well. 24 kilometers per hour blowing in from the northwest. That'll be a headwind through 1 and 2 crosswinds on the straightaways. To keep an eye on as these drivers come through. We've seen a lot of speed off turn 2, interestingly, when you expect it to be where they have a little bit more downforce in that metric, but of course, very different corner profiles. Just with the way you enter, and there's a contact, and that goes up into William Kemp. The caution is out, and a huge snap for the 96. Toes back into pit lane. William Kempf also with heavy damage from that, acting as the safe barrier for 96 there. Van Oostendorp also toes as a result. And that's our 2nd caution of the night here on lap number 33. Here's the replay. We saw it live. It was a kind of drift up from Bailey Thompson there. Saw Goza catch that. Fabian gets a piece of it. at the tail end as well. Roll that very slowly up from our chopper cam. You see the 27 sort of cut back down late in the corner. Try and shoot the gap that the 96 is opening up, but try to stay low out the corner. A little bit of contact. And then the snap of oversteer up into the wall for William Kempf. Oostendorp nowhere to go. Those two trucks destroyed, as is Cody Gozer's. But it's about to get a little bit worse because Fabian comes through and takes a shot right on that right front corner. And oh my goodness, who's the Valvoline truck flipping down there as well? I have no idea who that is. Give me a second. Oh, he's wearing a Vaseline truck, I should say. Roll it back one more time. Here's the camera we're looking for. You see the wreck happen ahead. Dutch low, Dutch to the grass, doesn't have anywhere to go. And ends up with a single roll and an early trip to victory lane for the number 98 truck. He is down on pit road taking some additional repairs. Kempf and Van Oostendorp meatballed from that one. Goes, I think, also with no plans to move through. And only 3 trucks stay out here, in fact. In that last pit cycle, let's bring out the tower again. Caldwell, Walls and Probst decide to stay out. The rest of the field behind opts to pit, most of them going, it looks like fuel only. That top 3 looking to not give up the track position. This caution should help them with that fuel number, of course, but they won't be able to go quite as far if they'd want to extend in the late portion of the stint. And a few drivers did take tyres. Alex Kerfen opted in for 4 tyres, first drive to do so. Then Tristan Maher, Justin Rourke, Justin Durand, some of the big names to take their second set of tyres here on lap number 34. So a little bit before you'd want to take them, and if you continue to get cautions, that could be a concern. But we'll see what these drivers opt for. Gozer, Van Oostendorp and Kempf all 1 lap down. Zaki Warren back down pit lane, looking for some additional repairs potentially. Could go a lap down because of that. Fabian was down on pit road for a while. We'll see how that truck is looking, and that left front is not particularly friendly. Of course, that's the side that took the shot to the right front of Kempf. And I don't think that's just body weight. I think that wheel is in some pretty terrible alignment. So the toe is all out of whack on that thing. Face strut wheel pull off the field at the front, led by Cameron Caldwell. 3 trucks stay out here. Caldwell will bring the field back to green here at Michigan on lap number 36. The 18 trucks still in the lead lap. Wareham did end up going 1 lap down and is still in pit lane, taking those additional pairs. Caldwell and Walls fighting side by side for the race lead here, down into turn number 3. When Kerfen gets to the inside, into turn number 1. Again, Kerfen took tyres in that last stop. He's making great use of them. Oh, but you see, like, you saw the hands through the windscreen there. Yeah, good job holding on to it. completed the move for the race lead. But he's clearly using everything that's in those tires right now to try and get to the front, and maybe break away would be the hope. Confirmation that the number 98 tread is going to be retired from this one, so we are down to 18 remaining after that second caution eliminated 4 trucks from contention. We're still waiting to see how Fidel Fabian's truck is going to perform with 3 wide for second place behind. This could give Kerfen a chance to break away. Maha tries to rip that low side Caldwell in the middle with Michael Walls up on the high side of the racetrack. Kerfen was not able to break away. Those tyres not enough to overcome the sheer amount of slipstream, and especially when you got 3 trucks almost tandeming in that low side. Mahu and Raw pop to the bottom. Now through 3 and 4, Mahu has the run of a lifetime to take the race lead. It's going to be a drag race down towards turn number 1. Tristan will lead the lap over Alex Kerfen. Tristan, another driver who took those tyres in that previous pit stop. And it pays off if they can stay green from here. It's just advantage. If we get more cautions, then suddenly the advantage flips to drivers who saved that set. And the top 4 are under a blanket right now. There's all chance that we could get another caution coming through. It is Mahu leads this lap with a push from Alex Kerfen. Rourton Durand on the low side. Again, the entire top 5 now are drivers who not only pit in that last stop, but took tyres coat and all following through in that red Grid Network truck. So the tyre call clearly paying dividends in the early running of the stage. We'll see how it pays off for the rest of the run. And of course, if we get the caution, how it could affect things. Only about 8 laps difference in terms of green flag running between the 2 strategies, so the difference is quite surprising. Maha continues to lead from Raw, though Durand has the run on the outside of turn number 2. An update on the 11 truck of Fidel Fabian, caught up in that last incident. Down about a second and a half compared to the rest of the field. It dropped from the draft train pretty quickly, and now it runs down in the 18th position after a strong run starting in the top 10 for Fidel. Unfortunate running there, getting caught up at the tail end of that second caution. Oliver did a good job handing on to this group. Can't quite lead the way on those slightly older tyres. Has them. It's still in the pits, ready to go. Only on his second set of the race. A large chunk of field in the top 10 already using their third of 5 tyre sets. Oh, there's contact down in turn 1.4. Justin Durand holds on to it, but gets shuffled all the way down out of the top 10. Contact with Justin Raw, it looks like. We'll get another look at that one in the replay. See Durand pushing Maher into the corner. Maher goes for the block. And I think Durand expects Maher to be clear. Comes up to try and use that second lane from the outside. And it just doesn't pay off that way. Let's have another look from on board here. We stayed green. Durand now runs down in the 13th position. It's already making moves back up. You see, he just expects Maher to be able to clear Maher at the same time. Realizes that he's got to drop back down and leave room for Raw on the high side. And very fortunate for Durand to just have that knock of momentum. The truck looks mostly intact and he's able to make moves already back up into the 11th position. We stayed green here as we approach the halfway point of the 908 Suicide Awareness 200 at Michigan. At the front of the field it is going to be Justin Raw in the number 76. Alex Kerfen in second position with Dakota Knoll up 17 spots on this strategy call into third place. Took a gamble and it's paying off right now. Further back we have Tristan Maher fighting with Cameron Caldwell. Tristan took those tyres as well. Caldwell did not, is still out from the stage pit stop on the street, to not even take fuel under the previous caution. And it seems like it's starting to come back to both him and the number 7 of Walls. As we come through here, there's contact between the two of them though. Caldwell gets shuffled down to the apron off the nose of Walls, holds onto it, and Bailey Thompson moves through into the 5th position. And I feel like there might have been contact between the two of them at that point as well. Ward's been shuffled down the order, looking to try and cut through on that high side. Thompson gets up into the outside lane and might get shuffled out a little bit here as Caldwell tries to come back through after he got sent down to the apron. Well, at the front of the field, Justin Raw has been passed by Alex Kerfen for the race lead. This top group, I think, doing a good job to not fight too much at this point of the run. We've already seen the issue between Maher and Durand that's dropped them both down the order a little bit. There's a breakaway with Kerfen and Raw, and they're trying to take as much of it as possible. Caldwell slots back in behind Thompson. He's about the 4th place behind Tristan Maher. Just trying to hold on to that lead trio. But Gabe Pizzola, who was backwards, remember, for that first caution of the night, now back into 7th place. Great run for number 95. Started in 12th. It's now stuck 3 wide with Walls and Durand. That is a dangerous combination. Both trucks that were running higher up have had issues. That says Michael Kruger, to be fair. And there's nothing more impatient than a driver who has been knocked back from the lead group. Do a great job sliding up the inside. And those two clear. Kruger now trying to work on the number 95. The top 3 have a huge breakaway at this point. 1.4 back to Cameron Caldwell, who is still battling with Tristan. Now Justin Durand is going to try and fly back through past halfway in this one. Caldwell and Duran side by side. Tristan Maher pushing Caldwell down the straightaway. You got Thompson on the high side, Walls down on the low side. Big block from Tristan in the late corner. Whether that was intentional or just to catch the truck sliding up the racetrack. Thompson was all the way up against the wall in the aftermath. He's going to be slingshotted around the outside of Walls back here now. I think maybe the tyres are not faring the best on that number 27 at this point of the run. Coming towards 20 laps since that last caution, so even for drivers who took fresh tyres, they are definitely starting to feel the wear. Thompson came in for either fuel only or left side did not have enough time to take all four in the last pit stop. So he's in a similar boat to Caldwell, to Probst behind. And of course to Walls, fighting side by side. Update on some of the drivers involved in incidents earlier on. Fidel Fabian still running about a second a lap off the pace in that number 11 truck, staying on the lead lap currently. Has another 15 seconds or so, another 15 laps before he's in danger of being put a lap down. Meanwhile, Cody Goza has come back out 12 laps down after taking those repairs. Click off some laps, hope for some more instants ahead. Currently runs in 19th place in that number 96. Top three have a big breakaway from the group behind. They continue to battle in the run for 4th place. Walls has gotten around Thompson. Thompson just go for the slipstream. He's going to pop to the inside, down the front straightaway. No, it's covered by Walls. And gives a tap to Walls there in turn number 1. Crack the throttle to give that truck a little bit of time to recover it. And I think is going to consider that fair game. That actually lets Kruder slide on through past the both of them. Walls giving a bit more of a pinch there down in turn number 3. We've got Probst, Maho and Cazzola behind, looking to pick up any pieces that might fall out of this. Towards 40 laps to go, and there's that little bit of damage, it looks like, on the back of Tristan's truck on that right rear following that contact with Tristan Duran. It seemed like Duran's truck actually made out of that a lot better than Tristan's did, despite the off-roading that we saw from the 5. Know how sensitive these trucks are to rear bodywork damage. Is one of the Achilles heels of the iRacing model of these Craftsman trucks. And I think Tristan may be hoping for a caution to try and get that straightened out as much as possible. He's going to cross over Gabe Cazzola here regardless. And going to lean on each other down the backstretch. Tristan will have the inside line into turn number 3. Follow through Zach Probst for that 10th position. And slides up the racetrack a little bit in the mid corner. And it gives Gabe a little bit more of a chance to fight that one back. This top 3 holding on to that 2 or so second lead they have to the group of Durand and Caldwell behind. Those two have picked up a breakaway compared to the rest of the field behind them. As Walls tries to streak away from Thompson, or Truder, sorry, tries to streak away from Walls, Thompson. And then that battle between Probst and Gazzola now. 40 laps to go here in this one. The pit cycle about to start reopening, especially for a driver like Caldwell, like Probst, who have now been out for 36 laps since their last pit stop. Of course, pitted during one caution, stayed out during a second. So maybe subtract 4 or 5 caution laps from that count, as Gabe goes all the way down 2 tires underneath the yellow line in turn 3 and 4. It's enough to clear. Probst's going to push that truck forwards a little bit through Trioval. We're not seeing any attempt at a move from Rort here, it feels like. And these trucks can go longer than the likes of Caldwell. I'd imagine Coward will try and get to 65 if possible, just to make that final run a little bit easier. Might not have a choice in the matter, depending on how this goes. On lap 63, as we speak right now, Caldwell sat behind Justin Durand, who is on, of course, those fresher tyres, that slightly heavier fuel tank at this point in the race. Kruger behind is a driver fuel only, and is being pressured by Walls on those fresh tyres as well. No, sorry. Walls are one of the drivers who did not pit at all in that last caution. Split strategies right now, but it's likely to converge in this pit cycle. Gabe Solo is the first down on pit lane here. We'll see if anyone responds to the number 95. Lap times were about a second and a half off where they are on clean tyres, and so it is going to be a powerful undercut for the 95. The leaders maybe can wait a couple of laps to respond, but past that, they would come out behind. And then the question becomes, how scared are you of exiting behind another truck when we've seen how easy it is to swap and get things done with all the space available here at Michigan? A few drivers do respond, though. Durand leads Caldwell, Kruger, and Probst down pit lane a lap after Cazzola made that call. And that could be what springs the decision onto these leaders now. Got one truck to cover off, not too bit. You can get the movement around them. If you've got 3 or 4, they might be able to dictate the pace of this one. And it does look like they are going to respond. Kerfen and Rort in a pit here. Both squarely on the brakes down towards that speed cone. Dakota Knoll continues on. Will lead a lap. Tristan Maher and Aaron von Druska stay out most of the field. Pits here with 35 laps to go. Bingham and Paul and Sathbury stay out, as does Thornton. But a huge number of drivers on pit road here taking service. We see Levi, of course, 1 lap down, taking that service. First out, it will be Justin Raw, then Alex Kerfen Cotonal responds now. This twist, then where does Raw exit the pit in relation to the trucks that pit a little bit earlier? There is Justin. Behind is Duran's Caldwell Cruder, that group. And they've covered off the undercut, had a cleaner entry, it looks like. So true, you have more room to work with an entry pitting by yourself. It will benefit you. Gabe Zola is on the back of this group now. Seem to have gained a couple spots by doing that early pit strategy. Still have 6 trucks staying out and extending a little bit longer, but in fact, Vondruska was going to pit here. Sathmary is going to pit here. Zola set the fastest lap last time by as well. Cotonal is going to exit behind this group. See an instant potentially for Tristan Maher on the exit of pit road. Let's have a look to see if there's any truth in that one. Number 17. And yeah, I think I was hallucinating on that one. Smooth as you like for Tristan Maher. Got Binneman and Poland leading the way right now, but net race lead goes to Justin Raw, in fact, who has an 0.8 of a second breakaway from Alex Kerfen. His top 3 really spread out. It's at Justin Durand where the group continues, and the difference being Durand's Caldwell Cruder hit 1 lap earlier than Raw and Kerfen. Those two pulled the overcut. They had a very clean entry, very aggressive entry. And they not only have the fresher tyres now by 1 lap, but they're not in this hornet's nest that seems to be tripping over each other a little bit, trying to get towards the front of the field. Top 15 all on the lead lap. No danger if a caution were to fly now. But Bingaman, Thornton and Sand in the lead of this group. Bingaman isn't coming on pit road this time by. Just 2 handers on at the front of the field. And then it had passed the lead off to Raw Kerfen, who now have a 1.6 second gap to this trailing peloton behind. "30 laps to go here at Michigan." Green flag pit cycle is just finishing up. And as this group tries to catch up to the breakaway of Raw and Kerfen, now seems good as time as any to crank it up. 25 laps to go here for the 988 Suicide Awareness 200 at Michigan International Speedway. Alex Kerfen takes the run for the race lead from Justin Raw. These two have a tricky task ahead of them for the rest of this one. They have a 2-second lead to the group behind through the pit cycle. Their tyres are 1 lap pressure. Then everyone behind, except for Dakota Knoll in the red number 55 Grid Network truck, who pit a lap later even than them, as he cuts to the front of the field. Gap sits at 2.2 between Raw and Knoll, and the question becomes, how much are they willing to fight up at the front of the field, and how much are they willing to fight for 3rd place? Because whichever pack can work together that little bit more is going to be the one that takes the advantage. If Kerfen and Raw can work together, they can make it a 2-horse race and duel it out in the final few laps. If this group can find a little bit of cohesion, they might be able to catch back up and make it a 6-car fight at the tail end of this one. And let's not forget, a caution throws all of this out the window. Caldwell moves up to clear Michael Kruger, very tight on the high side. Kruger going to push that number 12 truck through on the outside now. This is the battle for 3rd position. We have Walls and Cazzola trailing another 3 seconds behind them for 7th and 8th. Bailey Thompson and Zach Probst run to close out the top 10. And then Leo Poland on a little bit of an island ahead of Sathmary, Bingerman, Maher and Vondruska, all running down towards the tail end of the lead lap. Thornton, Sand and Fabian going a little bit off pace. Fabian, of course, with that damage from that previous caution, is our only truck still running 1 lap down. Would be in the position for the lucky dog if we were to get a caution, and I'm sure is hoping that things come to blows in this fight for the lead or in this fight for 3rd place. Seems like they're not really finding what they need here. Knoll has gotten to the front, is the truck that in theory you'd want there with the fresh tyres of everyone as we pull up those stint lengths. 13 laps for Raw, 12 for Knoll, then 14 for the group behind as all those numbers tick up as we come across the start-finish line. The gap is just extending and extending. Last time by, the difference wasn't too bad with Knoll getting to the front, but to a driver like Caldwell, Raw and Kerfen gained 0.3 of a second last time by. And it seemed that they're working the swap draft. I'm seeing those names exchange places pretty regularly on the top of the board. Doing a good job running similar times to each other. It can be difficult in a group where you can get one car at the front who has a good lap, but then the rest of the field kind of falls away. Last time by, there was a good run for this trailing group. Dakota Knoll and Michael Kruger both faster than Kerfen. A lot faster than Raw, in fact. So we'll see whether they finally get organised in these final 20 laps to try and mount a charge on this lead duo. It is Kerfen who lead by 1/4 of a second right now over Justin Raw. And we're still about 35 lap run to the checkered flag after that pit stop. So tyre wear, the big consideration. The clean air will help, as well as the cloud cover bringing track temp down to 92 Fahrenheit. But it's still a marathon run. It's still an ordeal to get from here to the checkered flag. And it is possible that Kerfen and Raw have pushed that a little bit early and are now going to find themselves struggling to hold onto those tyres underneath them. Especially with Dakota able to put that pressure on. That Probst. As you know, Dave Pizzola's had an issue last lap or so. About a 42.3 in that number 95. Got swallowed out of that pack with Walls and is now struggling to hold on as Thompson and Prost slide their way through for 8th and 9th respectively. Not seen anything on the ticker about the incident that caused that, but you would guess potentially contact or maybe a slide from the 95 in pursuit of Walls has dropped this truck back. Kerfen leads that lap by less than a tenth of a second. Brought poked a nose to the outside. They are under side by side through the corner here. Not the ideal if you are trying to pull away. But it is that balance, of course. You know that the more you work together, the higher chance it is of being a fight with the top two. But you can also trust your tyres to do some of that work. And when it comes to the final laps, you're going to want to have that track position if you can. It'll let you dictate how you want to run those final laps. You can drop back if you feel like the slingshot move is better. And if not, if you feel like tyre wear is going to block that off, well, Kerfen has the advantage right now in the lead of the race. And last time by, they did edge a couple of hundredths on Knoll and Kruger behind. It's very much plateaued in the last few laps. Kept holding steady at 2 seconds. Does the trailing pack have anything in the tank to try and run forwards in this group, or is this just going to be the status quo for a little bit as the caution is out on the racetrack? And it's Gabe Cazzola with another issue. And doesn't that change everything here in the final 15 laps of action at Michigan? Let's have a look at what's brought that caution out for the number 95 on the inside of that group. Ooh, nearly goes over in that incident, but it looked on the top side. It was the I need to slow this down and have a good look at this. There is Probst and Thompson trying to get some work done, pushing on the high side. Probst kind of moves down, Thompson follows and then makes contact with Gabe and sends the truck spinning around. Single car incident with, I believe, no contact in the end for Cazzola against the wall. So pretty inconsequential in terms of damage to these trucks, but of course it bunches the field up. It brings everyone down on pit road. Fidel Fabian will get that lucky dodge that he was hoping for, and it neutralizes the race. It's going to set everyone back onto equal footing here as we restart with about 12 laps to go. Is anyone going to go for a 2-tire call here? I mean, I wouldn't, but they have the numbers of what a full stint looks like here. It is Kerfen who wins the race off pit road there, with Durand and Caldwell behind. Everyone has gone for 4 tyres, so it is going to be an even fight down to the end of this one. Cazzola stopped a little bit longer to take some repairs. Tristan Maher going to try and get that tailgate fixed up from all the way back on about lap 40 after contact from Justin Durand. Of course, Fidel Fabian has the lucky dodge, is now in the pit lane to take those repairs. Tristan has gotten rolling once again. And not seeing the same issue that I did last time by, so looking positive for the number 17. Has been running around for a solid half hour trying to get a chance to get that thing fixed up. Now has it. I think we're going to see a late charge through the field from the number 17 as we come towards the choose here. 13 laps to go. Alex Kerfen is going to go low. Durand goes high. Caldwell goes low. And they do just kind of alternate a little bit at the front of the field. It'll be Kerfen, Durand, Caldwell, Knoll, Kruger, Raw, Walls, Probst, Poland, and Thompson, your top 10 as we get going for this restart, the third restart of the night. But we haven't had trucks bunched up this close since before the halfway mark of the race. See how everyone handles it. We'll see where the aggression levels are, knowing that the finish line is in sight at this point. 24 miles is not a long time for those Goodyear tires. Question of timing the runs, getting the moves done, get you clear of any battles, any chaos behind. And all of the work that Kerfen did to get to the front of the field, I got to do it all over again. And I think it was Raw who was with him. A bit of a slow stop. Now starts on the third row for this restart. Pace car will peel off. Will it be for the final time? We'll have to see. Alex Kerfen has control, is going to launch, and we are green once again with 12 laps to go here at Michigan. See how close they're running down the backstretch, trying to give each other as much of a bump draft as possible. Knoll puts a nose to the outside of Walls here, coming through 3 and 4, has to slot in behind, does get the merge cleanly. Kerfen and Caldwell run side by side across the line. They're 3 wide in pursuit. A little bit squirrely from Durand there on that top side. More contact. It's going to go around. Yes, he is. Going to collect Bailey Thompson. And that will bring the caution out with 11 laps to go. And what was a strong run for Justin Durand now falls into chaos. Let's have a look back at what happened there for number 5 truck. Has the wall a little bit on entry, just a little bit unstable, and down into the 42, and then I think a little bit more help from the 7, a slow slide caught by the 55 there of Dakota Knoll, who was down on pit road, and then Bailey Thompson up against the wall, nowhere to go, pushes Durand through. Thompson and Knoll both with meatball flags out of that. Justin Durand, it looks like holding on for a little bit longer. Let's have a look at that from the onboard of Thompson. See the smoke appear ahead and nearly had it cleared if not for that snap to the outside from Durand. There was not much that Justin can do in that situation. See the wheel. It's unstable already. You can see soaring at it, trying to stop it from sliding down the racetrack. And then, of course, the contact with Dakota Knoll that ends up firing him back to the outside. Just catches it, and the right front suspension gives up as the truck snaps into the wall. Unfortunate stuff on what was always going to be a little bit of a sketchy restart. We are back under caution. Good news for Fidel Fabian, of course, able to get more fixed on that number 11 truck. Tristan Maher as well, up into the 12th position, does not pit this time by, which I assume that means it's a happy Whittle, knowing that he's got a good chance at this. Feels the truck is fully fixed up. Of course, it was contact from Justin Durand that put the 17 so far down in the pack with that rear tailgate damage. Now, as we come to restart with 7 laps to go here at Michigan, it is Tristan who has a shot left at this one. Caldwell leads the way. He'll be Kerfen behind. See who goes where on the choose. Caldwell can go low. Kerfen will go high. And they do alternate through a lot of that first couple rows. There's Fabian coming back out the pits, staying on the lead lap. Still not happy with the handling clearly, but now rolling around in 15th place. Shows the importance of persistence, staying in these even when the truck isn't performing at its best, and you can still put up some decent points out of the race. Of course, these tyres have now all had a heat cycle put into them. It could change the handling that little bit. It also means there's even less green flag running they have to make to get to the checkered flag. Also, we would assume that everyone has filled up for overtime if necessary. Up to 3 available if we get there. For one, I'm hoping that we can get this one squared away in 7 laps of green flag running. The option is on the table if it happens. Pace car will pull off once again. It is Cameron Caldwell in control of what is a much shorter field now. Gets the restart. Good jump from Alex Kerfen. But of course, that slipstream going to help Justin Rohr down into turn number 1. Who are going to follow low, trying to help out the 76 that little bit. Can't quite get lined up on corner entry. Caldwell will cover the low side as Rohr gets the nose to the outside. It's now Kerfen pushing Rohr as they were before that caution that changed everything. Kruger on the inside line with Walls following in that 5th position. You're going to start to see that side draft come in a lot more, especially down the back stretch. You can line it up a little bit better down here. And it's going to be a big priority to try and push through, but the caution is out. It's Paul Sathmary spun around on the back stretch. I believe this will not take us into our scheduled overtimes. It'll be a natural green-white checker. Gives everyone another chance to re-rack, and well, it is going to be a very different restart when we get going once again. Let's have a look at what caused this incident in the 97 round. Oh, and it's already happened. Let's roll it back a little bit further. Just gets loose in the mid corner and then gets tagged from behind. I'm not sure who that was. Might have been Aaron von Drooster in the 88. Let's roll it back one more time. Just on that seam, trying to keep it full throttle. Truck gets loose, tries to spin it down low. is doing a good job of Van Drooster with nowhere to go on that one. Let's have a look from on board. And I think expecting the race to stay green, ultimately. Comes down pit road. He's going to try and get that fixed up, but I think it's going to be a tricky one at this late phase of the race. Fabian, again, comes down for more repairs. Von Drooster, Sand, and Thornton also taking some repairs. Or in fact, I think Thornton and Sand might be coming down for a fresh set of tyres. When in Rome, if you've got the spare set, get yourself set up for potential overtime. I believe we'll come to the shoes this time and it will be setting up for a natural green-white checker. So we will go through the procedure for if we get there. So this will be overtime 0 of a potential maximum of 3. We will throw the green flag and that will signify 2 laps to go in the race. The way it works is, if we get a caution on that immediate lap, we will re-rack them, we'll go again, we'll reset the timer to 2 to go, and we will use up one of those overtime attempts. If we make it to the white flag, then the race is official. We will see it out to the checker. No matter if there is an incident on that final lap, we will get that green flag finish, and it will decide a winner. We come to the choose here. Caldwell will go low. Rort will follow this time. Kruger goes low. And Walls from 5th in line actually gets to restart on the 2nd row of the grid. With Kerfen opting to follow on that low side as well. Here we go, 4 miles. Will we decide a winner this time by, or will we get another caution? I believe on each last 2 restarts we've had the incident on the 2nd lap, which would mean we would be past the point of no return, and we would race through it to the checkered flag. Of course, now everyone knows it's 2 to go. The situation could change quite dramatically. It is Kruger and Caldwell on the front row here. It is Raw and Walls lined up behind. Kerfen and Poland on row 3. Probst and Maher now up to 8th position. Did another 4 on that previous restart. And then Gabe Zola and Lyndon Bingaman round out your top 10. 15 trucks on the lead lap. Could still be anyone's. 2 laps to go here as the pace car pulls off. Will we see official overtime? We'll find out in the next 30 seconds or so. Cameron Caldwell brings the field into the restart zone. Gets going, but doesn't get the best jump. Kruger, with a great reaction to the restart there, is going to be lined up side by side into turn number 1. And they are 2 by 2. We're almost pushing Caldwell through the corner, it looks like. The tightest of margins. Caldwell has to decide whether to block. Kruger goes to block Kruger instead. Raw struggling now to be 3 wide behind. As Kerfen shoots the low side, Caldwell goes low. Kruger maybe looking for a crossover move here. Is going to hit that crossover. It does not matter because the caution is out. And Paul Sathbury again, this time hard into the wall, down at turn number 3. And this will bring out our first official overtime of the night. I believe one of our first overtimes of the season. Of course, we had one last week over at Eldora. And Paul is really struggling to get that truck back to pit road. His day is done. You can see the damage on that right front suspension. Let's have a look at exactly what happened to the number 97. And it's just a handling issue again. Really struggling for performance at the tail end. Just trucks behind to catch that caution. And wouldn't you know it, we're gonna re-rack him and go again. Let's have a look from the onboard camera here. Keep an eye on those hands on the left-hand side of the screen. The truck goes away, tries to overcorrect, and loses the engine, in fact. That's why he was so slow rolling down towards pit road. Stuck down there as we enter lap number 101. We are officially in overtime here in the BSR Grid Network Truck Series. We had overtime last week at Eldora. And I think this is actually the first or the second overtime of the season at this point. They turned around to 100 laps. Kentucky to 134. Yeah. Eldora was extended by 1 lap due to that late caution. Here we are going to have an extended 4 in this first overtime attempt. If we do get to the third overtime attempt and a caution comes out before the white flag flies, then the pace car will bring us around to the checker, who will not finish the race under green. And with now 14 trucks on the lead lap, Delphi is still getting some repairs done on map number 11. But it's continuing to hit up spots as we go. Coming to the shoes one more time. It'll be Caldwell to the inside, Kudos to the outside, Kerfen and Walls inside. Justin Raw and Zach Probst going to try and rip it high on this restart. And that was a natural green white checker that we saw last time by. We did not enter the overtime procedure. This time we are using up attempt 1 of 3. We'll see if drivers can get it done this time. If I'm Caldwell, I'm a little bit worried about having crew to my outside with how the reaction was last time by. Got a different truck following behind in Alex Kerfen, so might get a little bit of a better push compared to what he got from Rort last time, but it's still a very difficult task. And I was scared of restarting on the outside of the front row. I'm not a fan of it. You don't have great vision of the driver to your inside, especially on a single monitor. Triples VR, it's a little bit easier, but still, I think the easiest truck to react to is the one that's filling your entire windscreen. Kudo does not have that privilege, but he made it work last time by. Pace car will pull off once again. Cameron Caldwell again has control of the field as we get into the restart zone. Kruder lined up right alongside. This time it's a better jump from Caldwell. Will clear Kruder immediately, but Justin Rort will follow the 42 well. I'll watch the start-finish line as Kerford caught napping a little bit by Caldwell. And Kruder again going to look for. Now goes to the outside. Rort will follow. Now switches to the inside. Gets there. Caldwell pinches low. Kerfen going to try and force it 4 wide. This is not going to work. Are they going to be able to leave each other room? Kruder clears the both of them, comes up to slide and block both. Are we going to get to the white flag here? Yes, we are. Kruder leads the way. They're 4 wide behind. And there's going to be contact. It's going to wipe out a lot of the field. Kruder's clear of it. Rort stays pointing in the right direction. Walls is with them. Gabe Tazzola is now in the 4th position. And Kruder gets loose off the corner. Rort into the race lead. Was that contact between the two of them? More shuffling in the background. Justin Raw leads the way into turn number 3. Kruger gonna try and hold the low side. Gonna try and find some momentum. But it's Justin Raw 0.2 of a second out in front. He is gonna come to the line. And in a crazy finish, Justin Raw wins at Michigan. I mean, I don't know what to say. I really do not know what to say about that finish. We are going to have a look at the replays. But of course, your race winner here is the 76 of Justin Raw. Yes, congratulations from Walls for that one. Gabe Cazzola ended up coming home in the 7th position, given the congratulations as well. And one over for Stephen Thornton, finishing up in 8th. I mean, you can tell Raw was not expecting it to play out that. I think he got tagged in that wreck, kept it pointed in the right direction, and takes it all the way to victory lane. He's going to burn it down here at Michigan. Justin Raw enjoyed every last drop of that race win. Before we go to the race results and to the interviews, we've got a lot to break down from that final lap. Let's have a look at exactly what happened here. We're going to have a look from the skies. This is down in turns 3 and 4. This was incredible stuff as the field holds on to it. Bumping and banging, they enter turn 1 4 wide behind Michael Kruger. Let's slow it down. There's already contact, and it actually happens all the way on the start-finish there. Contact between Caldwell and Curfin down into Walls, and it just concertinas from there. Roll it back one more time. And Curfin kind of washed up the racetrack a little bit. Caldwell leaving room for Raw. Snap back up. Walls stays in the right direction. I mean, Raw does get tagged there. Is skewed out at a crazy angle. Holds on to it. Cazzola is involved in that. But managed to get through, I think, on the low side. That Probst gets collected, and then it is just a loose moment for Kruger there. Through turn 2, seeing what's happened behind, still loose. There is the tiniest bit of contact, it looks like, with Justin Raw as he tries to pop the move at the perfect time. Continues to get that little bit loose. You have more issues behind as Maher tries to throw a block, Cazzola tries to throw a block. They do keep pointing in the right direction at the end of the day. Of course, Caldwell able to win the run to the line. Walls wins the drag race behind by just a few hundredths of a second. And that will be your podium and your race win to Justin Raw. have a look at those final race results, and then we'll have a word with our race winner. Justin Rohr wins the race by 0.2 of a second over Walls and Kruger, 3 drivers who make it out clear from that final lap melee. Levi Poland wins the best of the rest battle in 4th place with Tristan Maher, Lindsay Bingaman and Gabe Tazzola rounding out that second group in 7th place. Stephen Thornton, Fidel Fabian picks up a 9th place after being a lap down for a good chunk of the race, and Troy Sand rounds out your top 10. Aaron Von Druska and Zach Probst finish towards tail end with Kerfen and Caldwell both at the front of that field, spun around, limpet back home 13th and 14th. Then it's Paul Sathmary, blown engine in that final caution, will finish 15th. Justin Durand, Bailey Thompson, Dakota Knoll, Cody Goza, Zachary Wareham, William Kemp and Travis Van Oostendorp, the remaining non-finishers from tonight's race. And with that, it is finally time to talk to our race winner for tonight. Justin, what on earth happened? You were tagged in that final incident, kept it pointed in the right direction, and then slingshot off turn 2 to take the race win. How was that?
Terrifying. I felt the contact going into one, and I assumed I was just wrecking it, or all wrecking, and I was going to finish 20th, but kept it straight, and there was nobody else left. And Kruger, he got damaged, I guess, down the front stretch, like from the wreck, just a little bit, and it made him do loose in the middle of the corner. And then I was able to climb on top and really non-contest there, and I told Micah for another one back week, so that's awesome. The race itself was, I didn't really love it, but me and Kerfen were in such a good spot, it was going to be really tragic if neither of us won, so obviously glad to go back-to-back, and we'll try to make it 3-1 next week.
Yeah, second driver to manage that this season, of course. Taking the win away from Kuda, who was the first. Talk us through that strategy call. You extended for a lap over the rest of the front runners and had a great pit cycle to clear them on pit exit. Talk us through the decision on when to pit and who you were going to react to cover that off. To be able to drive pit a few laps earlier, and you didn't blink then.
I mean, we had the tire advantage anyways, just from pitting earlier. But I was going to go with Kerfen no matter what. And we weren't obviously talking at all really about it, but I knew I was close enough to him. He had to call out when he was going to pit. And I figured he was going to come down that lap just because those guys came in. But I mean, just the two of us was definitely stronger than having like 5 of them. I don't know how many guys back there pit all at once, but it's going to be a lot smoother when there's just 2 or 3 of us. Dakota, I think, might have came in with us too. I'm not sure. But I knew just because I was behind Kerfen, I was going to be able to use him as a reference point and get in my stall a little better than him, and got out in front of him. And I mean, again, just a real shame that we didn't go green all the way to the end, and it couldn't have just been us two. But I guess it made it a lot more exciting for the people watching at home, like my buddy Rivers Jones, who could not make it with us tonight.
Yeah, couldn't have the luxury of getting it done the easy way, but you get it done either way. Congratulations on your second race win in a row. If there's anything you want to say to the fans at home, now would be the time to do it. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you to you, of course. Shout out to all the GOAT boys, the TNA boys, everyone in the call, Micah, Fidel, Gabe, Jared, Buick. Donald, he's at work, I think. He's watching on his phone. He came to congratulate me right after the race on his phone, so shout out Donald. Steven, Jerg, Rivers watching at home. Shout out to all of them.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us, and good luck at Kansas going for the 3-peat.
Yes, sir, thank you.
That was your race winner, Justin Raw. We now talk to our second place finisher in tonight's race. Micah, talk us through that final restart, because you were 4 wide at one point. You were, I think, being bumped and banned a lot of that, and you still hold on for a second place.
Yeah, I don't really know what to say about all that. That was really insane. But I don't know how we got second. That was incredible that we somehow got a second out of that. Absolutely no words.
Yeah, I believe you were in that second pack after the pit cycle, and so were in with a fight, but of course struggling to catch up to that lead duo. And then the caution comes out, the entire complexion of the race changes. How do you sort of mentally prep yourself for those restarts, knowing that everyone's aggression has been turned up about 3 notches and things could go like that at any time?
I don't know. You just gotta. I go into every restart with I need to be the most aggressive on every single restart, no matter what. So, yeah, I just go into it with trying to be the most aggressive, make risky moves, and hoping they stick sometimes. So,
and of course,
they don't call me the Mississippi Missile for nothing.
Of course, it was a second consecutive 1-2 finish for the team. A second win for Justin. Was there anything you could have done to stick with him there, especially through that final carnage? And
no, there was nothing. I was trying to avoid the wreck on the bottom, and I mean, if just maybe one more lap, I probably could have maybe had something, but unfortunately, there wasn't. So,
well, in that case, what's the game plan going into Kansas to try and get one over on your teammate there?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe hopefully we can finally win a race this season after everything that we've been through. We've the only person that's finished inside the top 10 in every single race this season, and we've been fast at every racetrack almost, and just can't pull it out. So,
well, you do hold on to the championship lead through all of that, and it does feel like it's a matter of time before you get into that win column. It's another second place finish for you tonight. If there's anything you want to say to the fans at home after that one, now would be the time.
I gotta give a shout out to Jonathan Jurgensmeyer for making this beautiful scheme that he made me. Just absolutely marvelous scheme. And all the T1A guys and Bill.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you over at Kansas.
All right, thank you.
That was Michael Wall's second place finisher in tonight's race. And that will bring us to the end of the broadcast. No word from Michael Schroeder, but of course we're hearing about that damage that got picked up coming to the white flag. Really unfortunate for 42 crew, looking for their third win of the season, but still a very solid third place result to finish out the day for them. We're going to have a couple of weeks off, as mentioned at the top of the show. We will be back on August 30th for 134 laps over at Kansas Speedway, and then we'll run it through all the way to the end of the regular season. In fact, I believe all the way through to the end of the campaign. So that is going to be a hectic run to finish out the BSR Grid Network Truck Series. But for now, from everyone over at JCTV, I have been Olivia Hayward saying thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great night. Stay safe out there.